Hello everyone, you're welcome to another beautiful edition of your favorite show, Standout With Pat. Today we are looking at the world of entrepreneurship. You will agree with me that that sector is what is driving the future at the moment. Entrepreneurship is the future for a lot of millennial youths and for people like me. And of course, today on the show we are looking at the topic, corporate culture and digital entrepreneurship. And I have with me a very handsome guy. He is the CEO and founder of SME 100 Nigeria, and he's here with me. You're welcome to the show, Charles.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Pat. Thank you.
How you doing?
Very well, very
Charles,
well.
I remember something. There was a time you had a brunch, yeah, and I was there.
Yes.
And I wanted to pronounce SME. And I said SME.
Yeah, I remember
that was actually the first time I was going to hear the word SME.
Yeah.
That, honestly.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So when you corrected me, I said it is SME, not SME. I'm like, okay. And then I had to go home and then dig up the meaning, and I realized it means small, medium enterprise.
Yep.
So, and I see you as someone who is very driven and very inspiring when it comes to mobilizing young people to really find meaning with their lives, going into businesses and starting their startup, if I can use that word. How has the journey been for you so far as an entrepreneur and as the founder of SME 100 Nigeria?
Right. So we started SME 100 Africa about 5 years ago.
It's not Africa.
It's now Africa.
Well,
It used to be Nigeria, yeah. So we're in Ghana, we're in South Africa, other African countries. And it's still the same story that young people are facing in Ghana, in South Africa, and Sierra Leone.
Right.
No, there are no jobs. We have disturbing statistics to show that 67 to 70% of small businesses die in the first 3 years of operation. Right. And then we have another disturbing statistic to show that millions of people are thrown out of the university's educational system and in hopes to come out and get jobs, and there are no jobs. So we are like, so how can we help to curb this madness? And we said, okay, how about we help these small businesses to start up, scale, and then by so doing reduce the high rate of unemployment in Nigeria and employing other people. And then those who are coming out of school, we equip them so much so that they can start businesses and stop looking for jobs in the economy. So it's been challenging. It's been challenging because we were limited with a couple of things. One is resources. We had to improvise. We had to get a couple of partnerships, organizations support us, start up. We had to save, to get a couple of things growing in. And I can tell you so far, it's been worth it. It's been worth it because there are a couple of testimonials that we have. People who come to say thank you. That people who have started the businesses and have raised millions of naira. That people who are helping to employ other people, and the people who are just saying, because of you, my hope has been kept alive, or because of what you're doing, we have to keep going again and again and again. So it's been phenomenal. It's been a phenomenal journey. It's been challenging, but it's been worth it.
That's good, and it's comforting to know that you're contributing to youth empowerment, because it's very important. A lot of young people are in the university. Some of them have not caught up with this whole frenzy of becoming an entrepreneur. But you would agree with me that also it's not everyone who can be an entrepreneur. It's not everyone who wants to do, just wake up and focus on one business and excel at it. Some people just want to be satisfied with a 9-to-5 job thing. So the question now is, who is an entrepreneur? Who can you say, okay, can you just look at someone and say this is an entrepreneur? Or are there features, are there characteristics you can, point out and say, yes, for this kind of behavior, you are an entrepreneur, or you just delve into it no matter what?
And also, people delve into entrepreneurship for different reasons, especially here in Africa. People delve into entrepreneurship because of poverty. Right. People delve into entrepreneurship because of lack of jobs. People delve into entrepreneurship for just to make money. Other people just for social capital. Now, I say this because I know that I deal with a couple of entrepreneurs. I speak to thousands and thousands, and we're helping tens of thousands every year. But nobody is born an entrepreneur. right? So you don't come out of your mother's womb to say, oh, this is an entrepreneur, or this is going to be a successful soccer player. This is going to be a successful businessman or an athlete. What happens is that it takes hours and hours of practice and, of course, learning over and over with self-education, because some people go to school to study entrepreneurship, but they don't make the best entrepreneurs. But to especially in Nigeria, to actually do business in Nigeria, it's a very, 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 very particular terrain. You have to deal with different things, and then some of these things that work in the Western world don't work in Nigeria, and some of the things that work here can't be replicated there. So you have to come, learn real hand, first hand on the job, on the business that you want to do. But I say this, for people who want to go into entrepreneurship, they need three basic things. First is a skill. So what's the thing that it is that you want to do? Are you very knowledgeable? Do you have the skill to run it? Second is the market. And third is the attitude to doing it. When you say market, what do you mean? So who's going to buy this thing that it is that you want to do? Okay, who's your target audience? Who's your target audience? Okay. Who's the market? So market is a multifaceted concept. It's gone beyond the place where we buy and sell. So who's ready to buy this thing at what price and what time? So one without the other. Market without skill spells for disaster. You might have the skill, but you don't have the market, and it's going to be a complete disaster. Or you might have the market, and you haven't got the skill to execute, it's going to be a disaster, which is why some people go into partnership, because you need the skill, you need the market. I'll tell you this, there's this guy who one time wanted to bring in chinchillas. I think he got, you know what chinchillas, those fur coats. Yeah. You know, he loved them so much because he traveled abroad and he's seen them work, and then he wanted to bring some of them here. And from the first 10 minutes of the conversation, I couldn't understand who was going to buy those fur coats in Nigeria. First of all, the weather condition here is very, very harsh. It's hot here. No one's going to wear your fur coat. So I tried to explain, even though he had the passion for it, I tried to talk him out of it, to say, look, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And there's another lady one time I was talking to who was in the food business, and I was asking, who's your target market? She's like, oh, we are like 180 million Nigerians. 180 million Nigerians will eat food. And I'm like, no, 180 million Nigerians are not your target market. And that's the fundamental reason why small businesses fail in Nigeria, because they don't know who is their fundamental or target audience. So I give you another instance. One time I was speaking to a real estate company in the mainland in Nigeria, and they were trying to sell a warehouse. And they were trying to sell this warehouse for, I think it's a big warehouse, acres of land, and it was going for 2 billion naira. And they were wasting money advertising in castles. Advertising in Castle, for instance, there's nothing wrong with Castle, but Castle is a magazine that churns out real estate opportunities and deals that you can buy. But the people who have 2 billion naira to buy that property are not looking at Castles. The people who have the money to buy the 2 billion naira real estate are the guys who are reading Forbes, are the guys who are reading the national dailies. So I said to them, so they are probably advertising to the wrong target market, and they would have done that year in, year out, year in, year out, and then they go back to say someone is witch-hunting them, or they go to say someone from their village. So village people are after them. Okay, Charles, so I advise them, do this. Turn out the money you're spending on this kind of advertising, turn it out on a national daily. And they started with advertising Punch and Guardian, these are national dailies in Nigeria. And in like 2 months, they sold the property. This is something that's taken them over a year to went through the dailies. Yeah, because they went through, they changed the strategy. Right. So all the while, they were just winking in the dark, talking to the wrong set of people who could not buy the property, or who were not even seeing the property. Great. So it's very important that you understand your target market. Absolutely. And what was the first one you mentioned? The first one I said was skill and knowledge. Yes. Market and skill. So one without the other spells for disaster. You need to have market, you need to know who's buying, and you have the skill to run it. Good. You heard that from Charles. So it's very interesting. I'm enjoying this whole talk about entrepreneurship, but we need to go on a short break. When I come back, Charles is still here with us. The show is Standout With Pat. Stay tuned. I know there are a lot of entrepreneurs out there who are probably wondering they want to start their business someday. What common mistakes would you advise that they look out for,
in starting a business? Because I know it's not everyone who wants to really do the 9 to 5.
So if you ask an average entrepreneur, what's your biggest challenge? They'll tell you it's money. One time I was speaking with one lady, and she said she wanted to start a food business, and she said she needed, I think it was somewhere around 40 million naira to start.
Okay.
So I sat her down and like, okay, let us see. It's fine. At least you even know what you want to start. I sat her down and said, look, let's look at the cost one after the other. So you want to start a food business. By the time we canceled out everything, we just found out that what she needed to start was somewhere around 9,200 naira to go buy the food stuff.
How did you do that?
Because she had itemized that she needed a car.
Okay.
She needed a restaurant. She needed to rent a space. It had to be on the island, a highbrow area. So we're like, don't think about that yet. Think about starting small. Think big, but start small and scale quickly. So I say to small businesses, start small, think big, but grow quickly. So from where she was in her kitchen, she could make the food, open an Instagram account, sell to the busy women who are bankers and professionals, sell pots of soap, go to the market for them, actually help them buy the beans, package it, clean it up, and go and sell to them.
Smart.
And I tell you what, the currency for her there was convenience, because these women are very busy professionals. They don't have time to go to the market. So you go into the market for them, you brought the food stuff for them, you picked it out for them, cleaned it, and you give it to them. So you just go with the blended pepper or the pot of soup, they go home, warm it for their husbands, and they've eaten them.
And then the man would assume that the wife cooked.
Absolutely.
That's a big scam, actually, on men. Charles, I'm actually enjoying your conversation on entrepreneurship, and I'm so impressed. I want to serve you some tea.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
So you have it on the Standouts With Pat customized cup.
Right.
And I'm going to have mine too.
Right. Thank you.
But you need to continue on that particular, common
so
mistakes. Yeah.
You're interested?
Oh, really? Yeah, of course. Cheers.
Standout With Pat. Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah.
You need to cheers to our audience.
Oh, cheers. Cheers. Right. So another common mistake that small businesses do is they don't, I've spoken about target market, they don't know who they're selling to.
Right.
So they go and they're spending a lot of money in the wrong medium. Radio is expensive, TV is expensive. Very. They want to be on radio, they want to be on billboards. Meanwhile, their target market is on social media. So what they need to do is Instagram. Some of them need to just understand Instagram better. They need to understand social media better, because it's a very low income fruit to, to getting customers. Right. Also, for getting customers, most of them need to actually start to have a database. In marketing in 2019 has gone from clients to friends. You need to know when is your clients. For some business owners, you need to know when is your client's birthday, you need to when is their anniversary, you need to send them text messages. Sometimes you need to, when you get the database, you need a database to actually be harnessed. Right. So for instance, I tell you I'm starting my first business as in a fashion business. I start with you, you buy from me. I can come back to you and say, Pat, please can you give me 5 of your friends who can buy my product? You give me 5 friends, I reach out to them, those 5, maybe one patronizes me, I go back to that one, I tell them to give me 5 more people. That way you're growing your customer base. Organically. But if you don't have the database, then you can't even harness it. So they need to know their customers. They need to know their customers. They need to understand that value is more important than the cost. So most people who are actually thinking of starting businesses are just thinking about the outward part of the business. They're never even looking at the nitty gritty.
One of my friends said a lot of young entrepreneurs probably say they want to start a business. They'll register the business,
right.
And then the next thing they are designing a logo, the next thing they are opening an Instagram page and a Facebook page, and then they are printing their cards and everything. And after that, nothing happens anymore. They don't know how to go through the process of execution and everything. So there is more to entrepreneurship than just, designing business cards and logos. It's actually very intensive, and this particular point you're making is very, very effective. Now, I like the fact that you connected it to the digital space.
Yes.
Now, because a lot of people who are into business, you don't even know what they are doing, because they are more concerned about their own presence on the social space, on Instagram, than actually promoting their business. So most people don't really know how to promote businesses, especially young entrepreneurs. They probably just want to focus on what they look like and everything. So how would you advise, someone who is starting out a company or a business, how would you advise that they position themselves adequately on the social space? How would you advise that we go about using technology to boost our brand, to boost our product, to boost our business?
So I tell you about positioning yourself on the social space. If you see the magazines that they sell on the road, for instance, the Forbes magazines and the Ventures, you see that what they put on the face of the magazine is somebody's face, not a car or wristwatch. It's very intentional. Why? Because in marketing, people buy people.
Yeah.
So if you started a small business, one of the things that you need to do is to get testimonials. So if you've started a business, right? And your business is in fashion, or your business is in Standout With Pat, and after you've released Standout With Pat, so after you've done Standout With Pat, I think in like another 3 months, 4 months, give me a call and tell me to record a testimonial video. So I can do a video and say, hi, I was on Standout With Pat. Because I was on Standout With Pat, so I got a call from Ghana, from South Africa to come do some business, and that's a testimonial video that you can put on.
And now that's a testimonial video from Charles. Thank you.
Yes, so you get that video, you get that testimonial, and you post it. And when you post it, people will see, they'll be like, oh, right, so this guy used this guy's business. Because he used this guy's business, he saved him time, he saved him energy, he saved him money, he increased his productivity, and then they'll come to you. So that's a very good way to leverage social media. And because you're not just posting about us. So you see someone posting about us, this business was registered in 1994, we have been in operation since 10 years. Nobody cares about that.
As if it's about
it's about, it's more about the customer. The customer is very important. And, when you get one customer, we just spoke about how you can get more customers using testimonial videos.
Okay, thank you for that, Charles. You've really spoken extensively. And we're going to go on a short break. When I come back, Charles will be rounding off. The show is Standout With Pat, where we celebrate your uniqueness. So, Charles, you said so much about how you've inspired a lot of startups, a lot of entrepreneurs in Nigeria. You've shared some of the pros and cons, but how is it like for you as an individual? Sometimes doesn't it get so overwhelming, being a mentor? Because it's not, I know you still have to empower them, and then you still have to follow up on them to know how they are excelling and everything. So you're more like a father of entrepreneurship, if I can use that word, in the lives of these people that you have empowered. How is it like for you?
Okay, so what we did was we looked at a typical entrepreneur, and then we shortlisted 5 things that they typically will need, which is access to finance, access to markets, capacity development, mentoring, and networks. So access to finance, we started a microfinancing system where we give entrepreneurs access to money, because even after the talk and training, some of them actually really do need money to start. And then we handshake some of them and give them, hook them up with mentors. Some of them, right now we built a platform where we can actually even list some of their businesses and help them to get businesses. And then we organize exhibitions and trade fairs where they can come and sell and meet a new target audience. We also organize fantastic events. So for instance, we have the Nigeria's 25 on 25 awards, we have the Lagos Small Business Summit, we have the International Women's Day, we have the one where we came for the business launch with the business leader.
I love that. Yeah. I think I met a lot of people, yes, and I met the CEO of Diamond Bank.
Yes.
Yes, that for the first
Diamond Bank is now Access Bank now.
Yeah, now Access Bank. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So it's a good thing. I think the brunch, I love brunch mostly because you get to talk and then you get to eat. Yes. And the food is like it's like the icing on the cake. It's not like I love food.
No, it's not like
Okay, so I need you to really explain that aspect of mentoring. It's very important. Because that's what I think a lot of people lack. Because you're driving, you're trying to do whatever you want to do, but sometimes you just feel that you're on your own, and then you want to call someone, you want to talk to someone. Is SME 100? I mean, is SME 100 Africa? All is there for this?
Yeah.
entrepreneurs?
Okay, so we are there because we have business consultants at the office who they can come speak to.
Oh, good.
But I really understand that mentoring is a walking, talking relationship. So what happens is that in Nigeria or in Africa, when people say that guy is my mentor, they just pick up his book and they read, but they can't call him to get advice. So for instance, it's if you want to get an advice on a good or a bad thing, you can get it through a book.
Right.
Or through a CD, watching a CD. But if you want to get an advice from, let's say you have an opportunity with GT Bank or opportunity with Access Bank, you need a mentor to help you make an informed decision. So what we did is we set up an online platform where we first of all, what we just concluded now was a 3-month mentorship for young entrepreneurs. Okay. They first gathered and they met their mentor. We now hook the mentor with the mentee. So for instance, if I'm in the fashion industry, I can mentor people in the fashion industry, and then we got like one person to mentor 10 persons. After they met at the first meeting, they understood each other. The mentor was able to understand where they are, their different businesses. Then we took it online. Okay. Because we understand that these mentors themselves are very busy. So they're in a WhatsApp group, which our coordinator is on as well. Right. And then every week they're talking. The mentors helping with their personal goal, they're sharing ideas, they're collaborating on how they can move the industry forward. Midway into the mentoring session, it's 3 months. After the first month and a half, they meet with the mentor again. And then when we close the mentoring session, they also meet to end our mentorship program. Also, one very important mentorship program that we hold is the business launch, for instance, where we get an industry leader to talk to young entrepreneurs in that industry. So where you met with the CEO of a bank, he was there, and then afterwards was able to answer one-on-one questions for people who had questions for him in his sector.
Thank you for that beautiful information, Charles. Now, I really want to ask you, because when you were talking, I see you as someone who is so passionate about this. You're so passionate about entrepreneurship. You're so passionate about impacting, the lives of graduates and contribute to employment in Nigeria. But what drives you? Why are you doing this? Are you doing this for some financial gains or political? You want to go into politics sometimes and you're trying to gather clouds. Why are you doing this?
I've gotten some political invitation, which I turned down because I thought that I haven't even finished the work that I started with SM100 Africa. By the time that I'm done, then I can look at what's next. But what I'm doing this because I want to help to contribute to the reduction of the high rate of unemployment in Nigeria. I want to help to empower our young persons. If I talk to you now, you travel every now and then, and I say to you, Pat, how many Nigerian products are in the UK? What are the things that we export? I'm sure you can mention 5.
I can't know. Ugu. Bitter leaf.
And maybe dudoshu.
And the fish, the catfish.
But
I do those, like you said.
But I tell you that we have potential. We have so much potential.
Right,
like
right.
I came here in the car today. The car I came in, it's the guys who started this car manufacturing company are somewhere in Japan. You see the things that we use, the Hondas, the Yamamas. These are small businesses that started from other countries. But look at Nigeria. When we start something, the business dies in the first 3 years.
Yeah, the continuity
is very low. There's a plaza here in Lagos. There's a shop next to it. It's run by Lebanese. Okay. The Lebanese guy who started the shop has gone back to Lebanon. He's passed it on to his first generation. The first generation guy has gone back. The guy who's running it now is the third generation. Wow. So you can see that these guys know how to, they understand business continuity. But I can tell you, where are our big brands? Where's the Okada airline today? Where's the Concord newspaper? And these are businesses that should outlive their founders. And we don't see most of them happening here. Why don't we see most of them happening here? Because some of the people who venture into entrepreneurship venture into it for whatever reason. It could be poverty, it could be lack of job. But when they come into it, let us make sure that they're doing it right. And so it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. So they are here, and then they can actually even start to export to other countries, and they can pass the business on to the next generation. People do businesses for 4 reasons. One, you do a business because you want to live well, maybe because you want to get from point A to point B, you need money in your pocket. Right. Secondly, you do a business because of legacy. You want to leave something for your children. And that is where we even want to get to from people who want to just do businesses because they want to drive cars or they want to live in fancy houses. We want them to actually even look at it as a marathon and see that they can pass something to the next generation. Thirdly, we do businesses because we want to sell it. which is the venture capital space. People do businesses, grow it, and they sell it. But the fourth thing where we do business, where we should get to as small business owners, for changing the world, for philanthropy.
Yeah.
Where
Making an impact.
So you're making an impact. You see Apple saying to you that they're doing their business to actually help with innovation. So they're reaching out to people who want to change the world. And you see Google, the same thing. And if our small businesses can start to think like that, then you know that, yes, they're in business for a long run, they can change the world.
Thank you for that very insightful explanation about, the whole, I liked what you said about leaving a legacy, like doing business for long term, because that is what a lot of people don't understand. And Charles, for someone out there right now who wants to go into a business, it's not everyone who wants to do it 9 to 5, right?
Yep.
Okay, and of course some people also don't want to do businesses. But for someone who really wants to say, okay, I want to be a CEO, okay, what are the common mistakes they need to avoid? And how would you advise them to embrace the fact that being a CEO is not just in the name, it is in the doing? Mm-hmm. But of course, before you take that question, we need to go on a short break. The show is Standouts with Pat, where we celebrate your uniqueness. We'll go on a short break and I'll be back. Now, Charles, quick one before you go, and you've really been helpful on the show. I liked how you've been able to delve into the whole entrepreneurship talk. You kind of make it look very easy and, sexy, if I can use that word. If you want to say your final words, like, inspire someone out there to go and do their business, what really are the key things you want them to understand? And for you as a company, let's talk about a little bit about corporate culture. How do you imbibe, that aspect of business into your company as a CEO or as a founder?
Yeah. Okay. So I lead a team of very young people. I think I'm the oldest person on my team. Maybe someone else. But it's important to get young people, especially now that we have a high rate of young people out of jobs. And it's important to get young people into your business because they bring fresh ideas and they help with the business growth. But in working with young people too can be very, very, very indisciplined. They are the people who they're like, okay, what's the worst case? I just go home and just sit down. My parents will pay me. Do you understand? Yeah. So you have to, use the carrot and stick approach. One of the things that we do in the office is Thank God It's Friday. It's a culture where we actually bring in some friends of the business to come to chat with our employees. Right. We did something called Tea Tuesday. We bring in celebrities. We bring in the captains of industries to come talk to us in the office to understand our office culture. Right. There's something that we want to start to do, work from home. Okay. I still want to understand that they will actually work from home.
Because I don't think you want to go into that.
I'm looking at it because a couple of friends of mine,
risky.
have done it and it's working. But there are other organizational cultures that I'm seeing that I want to imbibe. I don't know if you visited the House of Tara. Even if you walk into the House of Tara is a makeup office here in Lagos. As you walk in, everywhere you see, say, welcome to House of Tara, and they're smiling. I'm not sure most of them are eating. I'm not sure all of them are so happy, but I think it's a company culture where they all come in and they're happy. Anyone who is not an employee of the company, as soon as you walk in, they're all welcoming you with a kind smile. And I think it's something that I want to imbibe in my organization as well.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing. But I remember when I was working for a company, a media company, international, here in Lagos, and every week there's someone celebrating birthday. So the first week I started, someone celebrated birthday, and then we had cake. I'm like, wow. The next week, so another person celebrated birthday. We had cake. I was like, this is good. And then I think another month, someone was getting married. We had celebration, office kind of stuff. And then one day, the boss was like, okay, everybody's going to the movies. Wow. We're choosing. So they had the ballot stuff. We had to roll paper. And then if you pick, then you're going for that week. I loved it. In fact, when it was time for me to leave, I didn't want to leave because it was a 6-month internship. So I was like, I need to reapply. But I already got another job, so I had to leave. So I think it's a very beautiful thing, and it kind of contributes to work-life balance.
Absolutely.
You know, it's inspiring for for the employees because they want to
comfortable in
give
the
their
workspace,
best
yes.
because there is a strong corporate culture.
Yes.
So on that note, Charles, I really want to say a big thanks to you.
Thank
You've
you.
been very wonderful on the
Thank
show.
you.
And I have a
Thank you
special
for this
gift.
too.
Of course, you have more. So you can actually go with this cup
Ah,
or that one. No, you go with that one.
with
Yeah.
the content.
Of course,
Okay.
you've taken it. That's yours. And I have this book. This is my
So
first
much.
book, Life of a Media Girl.
right.
It's yours.
Thank you
I hope
so
you
much.
read it. And
Thank you, I will.
I've shared so much about myself in
Right.
my journey in the
Right.
media industry.
Right.
It's very intensive.
How long have you been?
In the media?
Yeah.
A decade. 10 years in 2018.
Right.
I started in 2008.
Congratulations.
But it's fine. That's for another day.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Charles. Give me 5. Bask you. That's it. Okay, the show has been awesome. Stand Out With Pat. Thank you for being a part of it. We hope to see you again next week. But before I go, I really want to say this. It's very important that you follow your passion, do what you love. But make sure you always look before you leap. Bye for now.